Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Friday, which means it is Book Review Friday once again. Today we are going to be talking about Broken Rock by Deep Arya. And I actually was sent this book by the author, and I have actually reviewed another book by the author, which is The Overbridge. This was the author's first book, and I have a full review on this as well. I'll link it so you guys can watch it if you feel like it. The author was kind enough to send me their newest book, which I was very excited about because I really did like The Overbridge, and I have to say I liked this book as well, but we'll get into it. So let's talk about the cover. I love the purple. I think the purple is really eye-catching. It's very different than other horror books. Like I've said before, horror likes to stick with red, black, orange. Those are colors that scream scary, I guess. I don't know. I know that when people think of scary or bad, they think of red, which I think is very interesting. I don't know a lot about the significance behind colors and why we pick colors for certain things. I don't really get that because I'm not knowledgeable in that, but I really like the purple. I think the purple stands out. I think it's very unique. I really like the color, and I love the lighthouse with its beaming light. I think that's really cool, and it fits the plot of the story, which I think is also really cool. Okay, so let's get into a quick synopsis, and then I will tell you guys my overall thoughts. The year is 1917, and George is a journalist. He's traveling to Maine to visit the Broken Rock lighthouse. The lighthouse is actually a really big deal because it survived an earthquake that hit the town before, and so a lot of people think it's this big, huge, amazing structure. The lighthouse is also currently being used as a military spotter, so that way German boats don't make their way in. This is why George has come to Maine to interview people and talk about the lighthouse, because it's a very, very respected structure. When George arrives, he meets John, a rough around the edges Scotsman, Arnold, who is the keeper of the lighthouse, and Tim, who is Arnold's nephew, and he's just a young boy. As George starts interviewing the men about Broken Rock and just trying to get more information on the lighthouse, a storm starts approaching. A huge, thick, dense fog surrounds the lighthouse, and they can't see anything. They're stuck. They can't see anything coming at them either, which means they can't see any boats that might be making their way towards the lighthouse. Then something happens that no one expected. The lighthouse starts cracking. Just when things can't get any worse, something lurks out in the fog, ready to take its victims. Okay, that's going to do it for a little synopsis. Again, the book is fairly short. This book is 168 pages, and The Overbridge is only a little over 100, so this book is longer. 168 pages isn't that long at all in the book world, so it is pretty fast-paced and to the point. This book is a very Lovecraftian, very Cthulhu-esque, if you know anything about Lovecraft and Cthulhu. I've never actually read anything by Lovecraft, but I am aware of his stories and the plots and some of his more famous ones like Cthulhu. I do know what that's about, so this does remind me of that. It's not identical, but it is a similar vibe. So if you do like Lovecraft's kind of stories, I feel like these two would be right up your alley. The Creature Deity is very interesting because it uses the people's personal experiences and memories to lure them to commit suicide, which is really scary if you ask me, because it can basically read your mind. It knows what you're thinking, it knows about you, it knows things that it shouldn't know, and then it can manipulate you into doing what it wants, and it wants you to kill yourself so that way you can join it and become a part of its little world, I guess. If that's what I get from it, at least. It just wants you to become part of it and its world, and it just wants to take you for itself. I really liked that Broken Rock is very reminiscent to the Overbridge. They're almost identical, very different like places, and I'm pretty sure time periods are very different, but they're very much in the same realm. If you didn't watch my video on the Overbridge, it's basically about a bridge that gets engulfed in fog, but it's the same sort of idea. It's the same sort of thing with the creature deity hiding in the fog, trying to lure its victims to kill themselves. So they're very reminiscent of each other, and they're very much from the same world, which I think is cool. I'm assuming that the author is going to expand upon that, and there's going to be more like a series sort of thing. The nice thing is you don't have to worry about reading these in any particular order. If you pick up Broken Rock and really like it and then read, oh, this is backwards. You don't have to read these in any particular order. If you really like Broken Rock and you want to check out the Overbridge, you can read them out of order and it's not going to affect the story at any point in time. Or if you read the Overbridge and then end up skipping Broken Rock and heading to the next book that they might add to the series, I feel like you could probably do that as well. It's different people, but it's still the same kind of idea. So I kind of like that, because that's a big issue for me with series, is if you don't know that it's a series and you read them out of order, then it gets confusing or slightly annoying because you miss information and then you have to go back and pick up the other book and then you have to start over, and it's slightly annoying. I love series, but if it's not clear that it is a series, then you get kind of chaotic. But I feel like with these, the author might make just slight differences in each of the book, and maybe they might be connected, which would be very cool if we see some similarities besides the fog and the creature deity. But that would be cool to intertwine them. Maybe there's like a character from one book in another book. That would be very interesting, and I think that would be kind of cool, because then it could still be related, but they wouldn't be an actual series like book 1, book 2, book 3, where you have to read them in order or it won't make sense, but instead just have them slightly connected like that. I feel like that would be really cool. I really like the author's weird plots and weird storylines, and I don't mean weird in a bad way, I mean weird in a good way. It's just a weird kind of story, but I like that. It's different, it's unique, it's not something you read constantly. Maybe if you read Lovecraft, then you'll see something that you're similar with. I, of course, like I said, don't read Lovecraft, so I'm not really sure everything about Lovecraft. I don't really know his writing style or anything like that, but I just like the weirdness. I like the intriguingness of everything. I like that it's weird. I do. I think weird is good, and weird in horror really works, especially if you really gravitate towards weird and obscure horror. I think you guys might like this because it's just different. It's not typical. Like I said, it's a creature deity and it's a lot of fog. Kind of like Stephen King's The Mist, which I like that one. That one's pretty interesting. So it's kind of like The Mist from Stephen King meets Lovecraft. Like they intertwine into one. That's what this reminds me of. Another thing I really like by this author is the way they end their chapters. It's very much a cliffhanger every time, so you have to know what happens. It's always like, and then he saw, and then you have to go to the next chapter to figure out what happens. And I really I love that, because cliffhangers get me. If you leave a cliffhanger, it drives me insane because I have to know what happens. It's just in my nature. Cliffhangers always get me, and this author just loves doing cliffhangers after each chapter, and it kills me. It's so funny, but also fun because then I have to keep reading. So overall, really impressed with Broken Rock. I really enjoyed it. It was really easy to get into, really easy to read, fast-paced, it's very fast-paced from the first page to the last page. It's just going until the very end, and I really like that. One critique I had with the Overbridge is I felt like the writing style was a little bit choppy and clunky at first, and I thought maybe it was because I needed to get used to the author, because sometimes with new authors I'm not always able to just jump right into their writing style. But I have to say with Broken Rock I did not feel like that, so I don't know if I just got used to the author's writing style or if they improved their writing style. But if so, it was a massive difference from the Overbridge to Broken Rock, which I think is awesome. I mean, your debut book is always going to be a little different because it's new, it's your first one. You're gonna grow, you're gonna be better later on after you keep writing for a while. I feel like I saw a massive difference between the Overbridge and Broken Rock, which I think is awesome. I'm really happy about that, and I don't know which one I liked better. I can't say, I don't know. I feel like they're both really cool and I really like the plots a lot. So yeah, I'm really happy to have read Broken Rock for the author. Thank you so much for sending it to me. It's an honor to read books that you guys put out. It's awesome. I love the indie horror community. They're always so sweet and nice and kind and so respectful, and I just really appreciate authors who value the opinion of YouTubers such as myself, who doesn't have such a huge community. But I don't know, it's just really nice, and I really love reading the indie horror authors' books. They're always really good too. I don't know, they're always really good and really different, and I just feel like that's what the horror genre needs, is more indie ideas, because sometimes these indie authors just come out with stuff that mainstream people can't always do. But again, thank you so much for sending me your book. It's awesome. I love it. I love both of them. They're really good. I think you guys should check them out. I will leave a link to buy both of them, and I will leave a link to my review on the Overbridge if you want to see that one as well. Yeah guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys had fun watching me talk. That's a weird way to say that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you enjoy from me. That way I can keep doing that content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends and talk about makeup and horror and books and manga and all kinds of stuff. It will be lots of fun. I promise. Hopefully. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!